Hi, welcome to another episode of Silver Fox Scotland. Sorry, but I'm just blown away with this. Lorna Slater, God bless her and all who've sailed in her. She's now saying, and this is an example of how dumb this dumb bin is. She's saying that anyone in Scotland who moans about the higher rate income taxes, or higher income taxes in general, not even the higher rate ones, the standard income taxes, that's higher, she says, cannot do maths. It's a bit rich coming from you, love. You can't do the maths when people were telling you what to do with the DRS, can you? For you to moan about other people's maths is an absolute joke. But she is an absolute madwoman, lunatic, mentally ill. But she's insisted that those who complain are bad at maths. And she's saying it's obvious because it's part of the social contract. Those who earn more pay more. And you should be grateful for that because it means that you can have things like free education, free universities, free health. That's her line. She's just said that they can pay for free healthcare, free universities. Goes to show that it isn't free. It's being paid for by bloody taxpayers, you dumb bin. Anyway, she said that she's ignoring the negative impacts because you've got to ignore them. She said you've got to ignore the negative impacts to look for the social good. And then she said, well, she was asked what the negative impacts, and she said, well, I'm sure there's some. And the guy said, what, things like people leaving Scotland because the taxes are too high? She said, well, that hasn't really happened a lot. Excuse me, it's happening all the time. This is why Scotland's got big problems. It's why there's no investment. Taxes are too high. Hell, even Nicola Sturgeon started a limited company so she could dump her income from her book deals and speaking things into a company rather than into her personal income. Because, pay less tax and, claim things that way. And to be honest, I don't blame her. It's what I did years ago. I started my company 12 years ago for exactly that reason. So, why not? I'm an accountant. I can't help it. You've got to look for these things. Anyway, but they keep widening this tax difference. And she says, well, that's a good thing. And what makes me laugh, all right, and this is it. She says it's great because it gives Scotland a greater cohesion. She says it's more fundamentally democratic that way. Say she talked about that social contract. She says that it helps with social cohesion. It helps with building the services we need as a nation. She said, and it means there's much less restrictions. Are you kidding me? What was a mental into it? Anyway. She said the overall cost of living is lower in Scotland. It isn't. That's a fact. Purchasing houses and renting houses might be cheaper, but the taxation more than pays for that. And then when you look at the lack of things like healthcare, dentistry, schooling, good schooling, that sort of thing, no, it isn't. It's a lie. She then boasted, she said, that she specifically brought her skills to Scotland because it was a more socially democratic country. Her skills? This is a woman who has failed in every single thing she was given to do, who sits there and has a look of astonishment when people tell her the truth. When people say she's about to cost this country £1 billion in punishment beatings over a failed DRS scheme because she was so arrogant that because she was told what to do, she collapsed the whole bloody thing. Skills? Jesus, Jeffrey, have a word with yourself. Anyway, she wanted to challenge some of what is seen as economic orthodoxy, that low taxes bring benefits. She says that's simply not true. Excuse me, FRO, love. Look at Singapore, right? Booming, low tax, right? Simple as that. Low tax, high investment. That's how it works. When Thatcher reduced all the taxes in Britain back in the early 80s, the investment that came into this country was massive. People had money in their hands. You never had it so good. Until 92. And then that's when... what happened in 92? Major. That was it. And he went, oh, and we're going to do this, and more peas, dear, and he just didn't have a clue. But it's just a joke, isn't it? This woman seriously thinks that people are standing in astonishment at her great math skills and says that anyone who doesn't understand how tax works is not very good at maths. Yes, we do. We understand totally how tax works, and we are very good at maths. Some of us have got degree level maths, darling. I didn't do a degree in maths. I did a degree in physics. But anyway, we still do degree level maths, you know. So she sits there and I think she's smoking a pipe of poppy or something. She's mentally ill. She truly is. I don't think she understands how money works. I genuinely, I'm not taking the piss. I really don't think she understands how taxation works, how economies work. Remembering she comes from Canada, big country, very few people. Way fewer than the whole of Britain, you know. And so for her little rural economy country, she probably thinks, oh, but that's how tax works. It isn't. It isn't. And she's right about one thing. I mean, Canada's a shithole because of its politics. But if you listen to the way she wants to run an economy, Scotland would be down the hole faster. I mean, she's got to be worse than Shona Robinson, surely. She wants to put the taxes up. Shona has finally understood that you can't put them up anymore, at least. But this Dumbo, this blonde bombshell, she seems to think that putting the taxes up will help and make Scotland better, and more things would be free. I despair. I absolutely despair of this woman and her party. Her party's ripping itself apart. Have you seen the latest with the Greens? They want all women. They only want women in the Greens now, and they want the imp and the embryo to basically sod off. They don't want, and they don't, they don't want them to stand for election, for leadership. They don't want them even sort of as MSPs. They want them to stand aside so that all Green MSPs are women. Well, there we go. That's very equal, isn't it? But they're not doing it. Harvey says he's not going, and Ross Greer says he's definitely running for leadership because the Greens want him. Nobody wants him. Your own mother is probably ashamed of you, Ross. She took a look at you and went, they told me I'd have a son. And what have I got? Got a toothpick with a ginger head. You know, manliest of manly men. Oh, dear God. And then he says, I'm very strong. Yeah, but no. But that's the Greens for you. Mental, stupid, dumb, effeminate. I don't know. What is wrong with the Greens? Do you have to be touched in the head or whatever to join them? I think so. Anyway, they just annoy me, you know. Anyway, we shall drown there. But it's I still can't get over how dumb this woman is. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I do apologise, rambled on a bit there, but disbelief mainly. Till next time, goodbye.